I mean, I'm just going to throw this out there. This is what most people at Alabama are reporting, not us. This is what most people at Alabama are reporting, that Jalen Milroe might be the guy that starts. Okay. I'm not shocked by that. I know everybody else is shocked by that. I'm not shocked by that in the slightest. Saban's going to know with what he has, and I would probably assume that Ty Simpson would be the second guy that runs out after Milroe. I don't think Buchner is a dude. I think Buchner is going to wind up playing something else.
Yeah, but first of all, Buchner's he's good enough of an athlete to play safety. He's good enough of an athlete to play linebacker or something. And he's not afraid of being physical. So again, he could play somewhere in the defensive backfield. He absolutely could. And for any Alabama fans who are upset with that notion, learn ball. To what you're talking about with Jalen Milroe, though, I think it makes a lot of sense because he's basically the same guy as Robbie Ashford. Like we got to the same problems, the same strengths. They're not that far off from one another. I'm not saying it's a 1-to-1 comp, but the same problems, the same things that make him a dangerous football player. There are a lot of similarities. I find it interesting because, like, for me, I'm concerned about Ty Simpson. If Ty Simpson can't beat out Jalen Milroe, who was horrendously inaccurate at times when he had to step in and play, like, what's going so wrong for him that he can't win this job? I'm not at these practices. I'm not, keyed in on the message boards, and I don't have a subscription to an Alabama site, so I don't really know what's happening at these practices. But what are his struggles so much that he can't beat out a guy who, again, has been consistently
late,
inaccurate?
He's not accurate. He's not hitting his targets. He's not getting the plays in on time. He, throws to the wrong route. I mean, you name it. I mean, really, it's young. It feels. Let me tell you what it feels like.
Yeah,
it feels like a young quarterback that's been in two systems. It's moving way too fast for him, and he's just got to take a breath and slow things down. But the Lonergan kid came into the scrimmage this Saturday, and from the first play of scrimmage, this is with the ones. He throws a bomb touchdown, and Saban just blows it off, saying the kid's not going to play. The best quarterback is not even in the conversation, that being Lonergan. So,
he's
not going to play a true freshman quarterback.
I know he won't.
Unless, but see, here's the problem. When they started Jalen Hurts, Jake Coker had just won a national title, and Lane Kiffin had, with Saban, had skins on the wall, if you will, right? So when Lane goes to Saban and says, listen, we got to play this kid Jalen Hurts, he listened to him, okay? Because if you remember, Jalen Hurts fumbled the ball against USC. They run him right back out there for another series. I don't really know what's going on in Alabama. I don't think it's good for Saban that he's as giddy as he is. If Saban had a really good team, he's usually pissed off. Okay, when he's really happy, it's when his teams aren't as good, aka last year. Okay, so we'll have to wait and see. But it does, from the Bama side of things, what they believe is going to happen. Most media members there think Jalen Milroe is going to be the dude. Now, I do think Jalen Milroe, if he has worked on some accuracy things, this just pretty much, Joe, confirms to me that this is going to be Jalen Hurts all over again. This is going to be Jalen Hurts all over again in the sense of they're going to run the football, get the ball out in space to playmakers, and just run the clock. Try to play really good defense and run the clock. That's going to be Bama, and they're going to punish you, and you're gonna feel it the next day. That's how they're gonna play. That's how they're gonna win. That's how they're gonna beat Texas. Because Texas, look, I'm gonna tell you something. Everybody's like, oh, well, their D line's really good. Okay, well, that O line from Alabama is not a slouch. They're gonna be better than they were a year ago. I think Jalen Milroe gives them the most consistency as of right now from what we're hearing.
That's a really good point. Honestly, the more that I think about it, I do agree with that notion that for what has worked for Tommy Rees, not at the quarterback position specifically, but just having a run-centric team, and also what's worked at Alabama at times is having an extra layer to your run game that you can rely and lean on a guy like Jalen Milroe to run the ball. I feel like Milroe's not as physical as Jalen Hurts was, though. That's the only
No, but
pause that I
Jalen
have.
Hurts ain't run a 4.3.
That's true. It's a really good point. I also think that the really big difference this year for the run game compared to last year, I was the biggest Jahmyr Gibbs fan ever. Jahmyr Gibbs was explosive. He was fun to watch, but he didn't fit the normal mold of just like bruising, physical, between the tackles, Alabama running back. And I think that they're going back to that with the freshman that they brought in. Justice Haynes is a bit more physical. And then some of the guys that were backups last year, it's a physical group. They're going to really get back to that. And I think that Tommy Rees bringing him in, we already knew that. I just wonder, can like Jalen Milroe, can he play that style? Can he bring this offense up, or is he just going to be, good enough to move the chains? And like, I don't know. I'm a little concerned about what's going to happen when they get to third down and it's 3rd and 5 and he's forced to complete a difficult pass. I just don't know if I can really trust him.
You probably can't. But here's the thing. What if he has made progressions? I mean, Joe, he's only had a start. Like, I mean,
that's true, but who's working with him though? That's the thing. Like, is Tommy Rees a quarterback whisperer?
But here's the problem though. Yeah. We get so down on kids after a start against, and I might add, okay, true. The team that he played a year ago was the #1 pass defense, not just in the SEC, in the country.
Yes.
So A&M had the best passing defense in the country. If you don't believe me, just go back and look it up. I mean, like, it's not that difficult to figure it out. You look at the stats. Oh, wait, the #1 passing defense in the country was Texas A&M. Oh, well, Jalen Milroe played the best passing defense in college football a season ago. He had a start. And let's not go down this rabbit hole. I sent you a video 2 weeks ago of Anthony Richardson making a horrible interception. Did I not?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
What's the difference in what Anthony Richardson did 2 weeks ago versus what Jalen Milroe's done? So, the question becomes, like, Joe, we've seen this kid throw the ball 60 yards and hit a goalpost. Like, he was told to throw the ball 60 yards and hit a goalpost. He did it. You know who that also sounds like and did that a year ago? You ready for it? Anthony Richardson. So there are dynamics to this that I look and say, okay, well, the kid has a start and everybody's beating down on him. Can he just have more time to develop? Like that's the only thing that I hate with people about quarterbacks. It's like, he's got to come in and he's got to play elite now. That's not how every quarterback works, man. It's just not.
I love that you're using my argument. It makes me really happy. But here's the difference, though. Anthony Richardson was on a bad team, and they didn't win any games last year. Like, they had a terrible record. And the Colts team that Anthony Richardson's going to be on,
first start, he had 3 picks. Does that sound familiar?
But what I'm trying to get at here is that Milroe's not stepping into a situation where it's okay if he plays bad and there's no expectation. This is Alabama. This is a top 10 ranked team right now.
You think Florida doesn't have expectations? I get what you're saying, but
they do, but the expectations for a first-year head coach or just for Florida's situation in general are different than the ones right now for Saban this far into his career, where there's this expectation from a lot of people that they're going to go back to the college football playoff and that they're going to compete for an SEC championship again. I'm afraid to commit to that. And like, he can't go out there and mess up. He needs to go out there and immediately hit his stride, and they need to immediately play well. They can't dick around with let's give him a week or so. Let's see how comfortable he gets.
He does have a week. That's a good thing. He does have week 1.
If he shits the bed, they lose to Texas. If he has multiple picks, multiple turnovers, more than one turnover, they lose to Texas. That needs to be established.